everybody, it's Sarah, and before we get into today's video, a few things first. First of all, yes, my hair is still wet from the shower. I have a bit of a headache, so I didn't want to blow dry it. And the second thing is, you might have noticed that my voice sounds very weird. The reason for that is that for the past week I haven't had a voice, starting with the worst sore throat that I've ever had. Don't worry, it's nothing to do with COVID. It's just me being stupid and going to sleep with wet hair under an open window when it got quite cold outside during the night, and then on the next day waking up with the worst sore throat, and now I've been dealing with this cold and with not being able to properly speak for the past week. But yeah, so because of that, I will try to keep this video as brief as possible. We'll see how I manage. Actually, I might manage quite good because today is my August TBR, and at least half of the TBR is basically my July TBR, because compared to the rest of the year, I barely read in July. So let's start with the books that I already had on my July TBR but that I didn't get to in July. The first of those is a reread. That is Crucial Start by Jacqueline Carey. And I did not continue on rereading this. I'm about 50 pages in, 60 pages in, yeah, 60 pages in. And in this one we follow a courtesan spy. So we follow a young woman who is called Phaedra, and she was born into a night house, which basically makes her a very high-end prostitute in this world. She's then taken in by a man who also wants to turn her into a spy and who teaches her to be aware of politics and so on. And she then gets kind of like caught up in the politics of her world and everything. And so yeah, I really loved this when I first read it, wanted to reread it, so that's what I'm gonna do, hopefully in August. The next book I have is this collection of Japanese ghost stories. I bought this at the end of June, wanted to get to it in July right away, didn't get to it, and it's just like beautiful illustrations in there. I'm pretty sure it'll be easy to check off my list, but I've been gone from Vienna for most of July, which is why I didn't get to this, because I didn't take it with me on vacation, because it's quite big, and also I didn't want it to get damaged and everything. But I'll be in Vienna in August, so I should have no problem getting to this. Two more books that I'm taking with me from my July TBR. The first of those is The Burning Maze, which is the third book in the Trials of Apollo by Rick Riordan. The Trials of Apollo is his third Greek myth inspired series, and we follow the god Apollo as he's turned mortal and as he has to go through trials, thus the series name, to be turned back into a god. And so yeah, third book was on my July TBR, didn't read it, so it's on my August TBR. And then the last book I'm taking with me from my July TBR is The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborgi. This is the third book in the Tbr trilogy, which is a trilogy of Middle Eastern inspired, kind of on the border of YA as well as adult fantasy series. And we follow a young woman who one day accidentally summons a jinn or a deva, and she's then taken away to this magical city where the jinn live, and she is once again caught up in the politics of the world. And so yeah, those are the books that I'm taking with me from July. Now the books that are new to my TBR, I guess. I mean, they're not technically new to my TBR, but you know what I mean. The first thing I want to do is I want to pull the 4 books from my TBR jar. I also didn't read any of the books from my TBR jar in July, but I just put them back in, so I'm not taking those with me necessarily. But yeah, so first I'm gonna pull 4 books from my TBR jar. I want to get to a TBR 0 by the end of the year, and each month I pull 4 books, and then I choose to read 2 to 3 books of those 4. So yeah, first pull is this one. The first pull I had was Contes et Légendes. Wow, my hoarse voice cannot deal with French right now. But it's basically legends from Brittany in France. So yeah, this is a French book. I'm gonna see if I can get to it. It's actually not too long, but I don't know. Every time I pull this book, I'm like, I don't know if this is too much French for me to read in an entire month, because I do read French very slowly. Second pull. So it seems I'm taking at least one of the TBR chart picks from my July TBR with me that I didn't read, and that is Dragon Rider by Cornelia Funke. Drachenreiter, and for some reason it's like really oily. I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, don't know anymore what this is about, but this is a middle grade standalone, I believe. And we follow a dragon, a cat, and a boy. And maybe a rat as well. I don't know. Pull number 3 is gonna be this one. I think actually that might also be one from last month. Yeah, it is. It's Faust, or Leben, Taten und Höllenfahrt by Friedrich Klinger, which is an iteration of the Faust story. This is a novel from the early 18th century, and I don't have it here right now because it's still at my mom's place from after our vacation. But yeah, I did actually read the first chapter of this, but I then didn't continue on. And the fourth pull. The fourth pull I had, and I swear this wasn't on purpose, was also a pull from my July TBR, and that was Moby by Herman Melville, which actually I've really been feeling like reading. I recently, last week, got this pretty copy, and yeah, I'm not gonna be reading from this, I'm gonna be reading from my paperback, but I do love getting pretty copies of classics that I then do not read from, but that are just simply for display purposes. So yeah, that's my fourth pull from my physical TBR jar. So next, let's talk about 2 German books, German/Austrian books, fantasy books that I discovered that I might possibly be reading in August. I'm not really sure yet. Both of those are planned buddy reads, and I'm not sure yet because the friend who's buddy reading them with me is gonna be visiting me in September, and I'm not sure yet if we're gonna keep the buddy reads from, like, you know, when we can actually read them together, or if we're gonna start buddy reading one of them already in August. But I thought I'd mention them already anyway. The first of those is Die Götter müssen sterben by, I forgot the author name. It's a German author. She lives in Austria, and it's a Trojan War retelling also. By the way, the title translates to The Gods Must Die, and it's a Trojan War retelling but following the Amazons, and it's queer, and that's what I know about it. I'm very excited to get to it. I already have it physically, but once again it's at my mom's because, I don't know, it's at my mom's. But yeah, that's the first one. And the second one mostly, which actually I have a very exciting video planned for this, so this is less likely that I'll get to it in August, and it's more likely that we'll buddy read it while my friend is here. But that is Sanguine Demonis by Anna Zabini. This is a Viennese author. It's an urban fantasy set in Vienna, which makes me so excited. And the thing I have planned is that I'm gonna make a video and I'm gonna show you through Vienna and show you all the places in this book as well, and show you a bit of my hometown, my home city, my favorite place on earth. So yeah, but probably won't get to this in August, but I thought I'd still mention it. For some reason I didn't start talking about all the rereads in this TBR video, so I still have one reread left that I want to talk about, and that is The Bands of Mourning by Brandon Sanderson, which is the 3rd book in the 2nd era of Mistborn, which is the Wax and Wane series. And yeah, this is the buddy read for the Crab Along, which is a year-long Cosme read along for August, and I'm very excited to get to it because I can hardly remember anything except for the ending and except for the fact that I just absolutely love this book. So this is probably one of the rereads that I am the most excited for within the Cosme read along this year. Also, I'm sorry, I feel like my voice is getting worse and worse. The next thing I want to do is my series TBR jar. In this TBR jar I have all the series that are unfinished on my shelves. Every month I pull one series from here, and then I continue on with the next book within the series. Sometimes I even finish the series. So let's see which series I'm gonna continue in August. So the series I'm gonna be continuing is the Traitor Spy trilogy by Judy Canavan, and just a second, I actually already have the next book on my shelves. So the second book in the Traitor Spy trilogy is The Rogue. This is Judy Canavan's sequel series to her Black Magician series. We follow some of the same characters from the first series. We follow some new characters, some of the children of the first series characters, and I won't tell you too much more because after all that would maybe be a little bit spoilery for the first series. two last books before we get to my random TBR jar at the very end. I finally want to finish the first volume of my copy of Arabian Nights. I have the goal this year to finish this. Each book has 1,000 pages. I need to finally make a good head start so I can finish it before the year is over. So this I'm finally gonna mention in one of my TBR videos to hopefully properly get started with this and not just read one of the stories here or there. And then I also want to read Black Coast by Mike Brooks. This I don't know that much about, aside from the fact that I think we have a bisexual main character and there's armored dragons in here. But I am very excited to get to this. I have heard a lot of great things about it. Actually, I already said that in my last video that I mentioned this. I haven't heard a lot of great things about it, but the few things that I have heard about it were very great. So yeah, excited to get to this. And now let's get into my random TBR jar. So my random TBR jar is this little book box right here, and in here I have all the books, or most of the books, from my Goodreads TBR, so that I can pull one each month and be reminded that those were books that I wanted to read once upon a time. And maybe if I don't remember what that book was, and if I go onto Goodreads and I don't feel like reading it anymore, I just remove it from my TBR. But you know, just those books that, especially because I live in Austria and I don't see those books a lot at the bookstore, usually tend to forget that I wanted to read them, especially if they're not books that are talked about a lot on BookTube or BookTwitter or whatever. So this month I have Lover's Discourse by this author. I'm not gonna attempt to pronounce it because I already know I'm going to butcher it, but I remember the cover of this book, but right now I can't even remember what the genre was. So yeah, but I do know that we have it at my bookstore, so yeah, I'm hopefully gonna get to it in August. But yeah, that was it for my August TBR. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe think about giving me a thumbs up and also maybe subscribing. Sorry again for my weird voice. I hope by Sunday's video it'll have gotten better. I don't have high hopes, but small hopes that it's gonna be getting better. And yeah, if you have any thoughts on the books that I mentioned just now, tell me in the comments down below. Also, as always, if you want to buddy read any of the books, which by the way, I forgot my book club's book. I just did that, right? For my book club of Queens, Witches and Valkyries, we'll read one adult high fantasy book written by a woman or non-binary person per month. All the links to the book club in the description box down below. We're gonna read She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan, I think is the author's name, and this is described as Mulan meets the Song of Achilles, and it's historical fantasy. So yeah, if you're interested in joining that buddy read, the Discord, the Twitter, everything, the links will be down below. And if you're interested in buddy reading any of the other books with me, just send me a DM on Twitter or a comment down below, and I'm sure we can figure something out, because I always love buddy reading books. But yeah, with all of that said, links to my book club, links to my social media, all in the description box down below. And with all of that said, I hope I'll see you soon. Bye.